so at Roberta, I want to take this opportunity, since I've got you here, to ask you some questions that I think I ask you every now and then I forget what the answer is. And okay, so Grandpa Vigil, at one point, didn't you tell me that his original last name was Hurtado?
Yes, Hurtado.
Okay.
He was born Hurtado and was adopted by his godparents, who are Pete and Ruby Vigil. And so they changed his last name. But they didn't change it legally with the United States. So when it was time for him to retire in his 60s, he had a hard time putting that all together. But they finally made it work.
I see. So now this happened. This occurred because his father had killed his mother.
Right. In a jealous rage, he went into the house, which was a 2-story square house, and I don't know if it was founded or not, but anyway, he killed her in front of the kids, in front of him and his sister. And he was young, I don't know, 3 or 4, maybe 6, something like that. And he killed her. Then he left on horseback to Mexico and stayed for years. And then he even came back. I was told he came back, and someone recognized him, and they put him in prison. So that's why Dad and his sister were adopted.
Okay, so what was Grandpa Rudy's father's name and mother's name?
Honestly, I don't know.
Okay. So we don't know the mother's name either, right?
Right.
Okay. Where did that event take place?
I believe it was Lamar, Colorado.
Okay. When did it happen?
Well, Dad was born in 1919, so if you add 5 years to that, that's 1924.
Right. Okay.
Approximately.
Okay. And did Grandpa's father and mother did they come to the United States together?
I think so, because I don't know any different. No one ever told me any different, so I think they did.
Do we have any information as to where they came from?
I think Russell knows that because he was doing a genealogy.
Oh, okay.
So he could tell you that. Yeah.
Okay. And then Grandma Liz, her mother and father came across the border on a train with a brother of the father. Tell me who was on that train.
It was my grandma.
This is your
my
grandma
Inez.
Grandma Inez. Okay, and what's her full name?
Well, at the time it was Inez Olague, Olague. But then when she came to the United States, she remarried to Perez. So at the time it was Olague.
Okay, and did she come with Mr. Was she married when she came?
She was married to Grandpa Olague, but he wasn't with her. He was, from I understand, he was either waiting for her in the United States or he would come later.
And what was his first name?
Santiago Olague.
Okay.
He's from Spain. That's another story.
Okay.
And so, yes, they came over in a train, and it was my Aunt Margaret, my grandma, Inez, her daughters, Helen, and Margaret. And one of them was a baby. Oh, and there was another one. I don't know her name. She was 15. And so what happened on that train ride is that the revolutionists stopped the train, and they literally took the 15-year-old out of the train car and took her, and they never saw her again. And they had to hide the baby, who was probably, I'm sorry, I don't know if it was my mother or my aunt. And there was a baby in a basket, and they had to put the baby under, and the basket under the seat so that they wouldn't see the baby.
Mm.
And they finally made it across the border in the train to Lamar, Colorado.
So the train was robbed, and everybody had to leave the train, and where they were robbed, basically one by one, it sounded like.
Well, you know, they didn't have any money, so they just took the 15-year-old girls, you know, and just used them. And they took who would have been my aunt, yeah. And
what was her name?
I don't know.
Mm.
I could find out. A lot of this I could find out, but I don't know right now.
But it was the train was robbed by
The revolutionists. Revolutionists?
Okay. So as I recall, it was Pancho Villa's men, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They didn't kill anybody. They just took the girl.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then an uncle ran after her, and he was never seen nor heard from again either. Mm-hmm. Right.
That story
that's
I
what
don't
I
know.
recall.
Oh, really?
That's what I recall from you. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it does. I don't know what uncle it would be because Ernie wasn't born yet, and
so it would have been her father.
It would have been.
And he was a.
Apparently, it would have been my grandma's brother,
Mm.
if that was, you know, her age, and an uncle. That would have been my grandmother's brother, but I don't know his name either.
So Grandma Inez came to where?
Lamar, Colorado, and I don't know why. They just kept going until they just stopped, and that's where they ended.
Okay, so that was in that same trip.
Yeah.
Mm. And when was that?
Well, the revolution was what, 1906 or so, up to 1916 is when the revolution was. So about that time. I don't have a date.
Okay.
But if
I don't recall.
I can prepare for those dates.
Okay. And what did she do in Lamar? How long did she stay there?
Well, you know, they were seasonal workers, so they just did seasonal work in the farms. Everybody did, from the kids to the mothers and dads. Everybody worked, and somehow they survived the winter. I don't know how, but they were in a little farm there in Lamar.
Okay.
Yeah.